Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be, I'm calling it my hindsight hospital must-haves and didn't needs. Meaning these are things that I either brought to the hospital and was happy that I had, or things that I brought and didn't need, and also some things that I wish I would have brought. I did a video prior to going into labor on what I packed in my hospital bag, but as a first-time mom, I didn't know what I really needed or didn't need. And so I thought it would be helpful for you guys, and some of you have also requested that I do kind of a follow-up video on what I was happy that I brought, what I wish I would have brought, things I didn't need. If you're interested in anything that I talk about, I'll have links in the description box. Okay, so let's get right into it. Ignore this isn't like the prettiest thing. This is like just baby supplies behind me, but anyway. Okay, so I'll start with the things that I'm happy that I brought to the hospital. The first thing I wanted to talk about, and I didn't even mention this in my hospital bag video because I bought it afterwards, but it's this little egg nightlight. And I almost didn't buy this. I almost didn't bring this because it seemed like not a big deal, but this thing was so handy. There were a lot of times in the middle of the night that I'd have to wake up and feed him. This is just really nice because you don't have to plug it in. It charges and it lasts for a really long time. I'm not sure, I think like 80 hours or something. And it doesn't have any cords. It doesn't have any buttons to fuss with. So in the middle of the night, it's just really easy because you can just reach over and you just tap it like that. And then you can make it brighter or dimmer. You can also change the coolness of the light. So you can make it, I don't know if you'll be able to see this on camera. Yeah, you kind of can. You can make it more cool toned or more warmer toned. I don't think that's really coming across on camera, but it does in real life. And the nurses all kept commenting on how cool that was, and it was just really handy in the hospital, and we still use it now. Okay, the next thing was makeup, toiletries, hair ties. I was in the hospital for a long time. If you're not familiar with my story, I'll put a link up in the cards to my labor and delivery story, but I ended up having a really long labor. I pushed for 4 hours and then I had a C-section. I probably should have said that at the beginning. So that will like affect what you bring because C-section recovery is different from a vaginal birth recovery. As I was saying, because I was in the hospital for a little longer than normal, I was induced. I ended up being in the hospital a total of 6 days, so almost a week. And you just want to feel human, like you just kind of want to feel like yourself again. And makeup and things like that make you just look a little nicer, look a little more put together. I was really happy that I had that stuff. And then also, you know, visitors are coming in and things like that. So it's nice to have that to kind of like freshen yourself up. Maybe not in the immediate day or two after giving birth, but beyond that. Okay, along those same lines, I debated, and you guys will remember this in my other video, I debated on whether or not I should get one of those pretty hospital gowns or pretty like robes to wear in the hospital. And I was kind of like rolling my eyes at myself because it just seemed so unnecessary. Like, you can just wear the hospital gown, you know, what does it matter? I was actually really happy that I brought those for the same reason as like the makeup and stuff like that, because just emotionally and like for your mental state, it's nice to not feel so like disgusting and, you know, you're like bleeding and you're just gross. And I was really happy to have those. I didn't wear the gown during my labor, but I think it was like a few days after. It was like the same day when I felt like putting makeup on and just freshening myself up, when we had visitors coming, and I changed into that robe, and it just like, I don't know, it just made me feel better and just a little prettier. It was nice to wear something different from the ugly hospital gown that I was wearing before. So if you're on the fence about that, I would recommend it. I just think it's kind of nice. So yeah, I had the gown and I also got the robe. This is what it looks like. This is like the pattern. And I wore the robe a lot too. Yeah, I'd recommend both of those. I don't have the gown because I ended up ripping it. It has like snaps, which is really nice for breastfeeding. But I ended up like tearing the fabric, and I was like, I'm never gonna wear this again anyway, so I just threw it away. Okay, the next thing that I was happy at that I brought was my boppy, and I don't have it out right now, but I don't really use it that much anymore. But when you're just getting the hang of breastfeeding, it does make it easier because it just keeps the baby up kind of higher. The next thing was a nursing cover. I was happy to have this in the hospital just for when visitors came. Obviously, that was the only time I used it. The other time, you just everything's just out and about, but when visitors were there and he would get hungry, you know, it was just nice to have a nursing cover. Okay, the next thing I was really happy that we brought was this Arms Up Swaddle. These are so great and he still loves them now. And obviously in the hospital, like they'll give you a blanket that you can swaddle him in, but this just works so much better. It's like a tighter fit. He really loves still having his arms up, and so this kind of allows for that. He was just super comfy in this. I remember one time he was crying in the hospital and Wes put this on, zipped it up, and he just like immediately stopped crying. It didn't happen every time, but it's sometimes. So I could tell that he really liked this, and it's just easy. Like, this is the thing. You want stuff that it makes life easier. Don't worry about what's pretty. Like, that was kind of a mistake that I made, was like, just in general, just caring too much about how stuff looked, because that is important to me. But in the newborn days, like, just get functional and easy. And so what I love about this is it has this zipper, and it zips. You can zip it up or down. So you can zip it up if you just need to do a quick diaper change. You can zip it down if you're taking it off and on. And so yeah, I love these, and we ended up buying a few more. So, okay, the next must-have, for me anyway, was a nursing nightgown. I don't have this with me because it's in the laundry right now. I still wear this thing all the time, but I just picked this up at Walmart. It was really affordable. I almost didn't get it because I was like, a nightgown? I don't know, I can just wear like sweatpants or pajamas. No, I was so happy to have a nightgown, because if you get a C-section, you don't want anything coming near that incision. And so a nightgown just like you know, it doesn't hit the incision, and it's super comfy. So I would definitely recommend getting those. I know that like chances are you won't have to have a C-section, but I think it's better to prepare for having one, because people would tell me different things like to bring or not to bring, and they would say like, because if you have to have a C-section, blah, blah, blah. And I would think to myself, I'm not gonna have to have a C-section, you know, and that's kind of, it's not smart to do that, especially if it's your first time, because you very well might have to have one. And so I think it's just best to be prepared. It's nice too to have the nursing ones, because they just snap down for easy breastfeeding. The next thing is Lanolin Cream, and this is like the nipple balm stuff. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna need this or not. I didn't think I'd be in the hospital as long as I was, and I thought like my nipples probably won't be sore that fast, but I was glad to have brought it, because they actually did end up getting pretty sore already in the hospital. Another thing is a long cell phone charger. That was a total must-have in the hospital. I was so glad to have had mine, because they've got the outlets like way back behind you and stuff, and you're gonna want to be on your phone, you know. Then the last must-have for us anyway were these Muslin Swaddles. I got a 3-pack of these from the brand Little Unicorn, and they're very, I don't know if you can tell on here, they're very breathable. They're not too hot. We also put him in this a lot, and another onesie that was similar to this, which just has the zipper and the feet built in. Just a nice lightweight swaddle blanket. Plus these are a really great size. That was the thing about the hospital blankets, is I thought they were too small and they're kind of scratchy, so I don't know, I prefer these. Okay, let's move on to things that I wish I had brought to the hospital. This ain't pretty, you guys, but this is just the reality of giving birth. I wish I would have brought Depends. My hospital gave me these mesh, I think they're pretty common. I've heard a lot of people talk about them. They're like mesh boy shorts and then pads. And a lot of people really like that. I don't know if the ones at my hospital are different or something, but I hated them. They're uncomfortable. The pad did not stick to that mesh material well. So I hated them, and I barely wore them at all before I called my sister and asked her to please bring me some good old-fashioned Depends. And I wore those for the whole rest of my hospital stay and for some time after my hospital stay, because I had a lot of blood. You have more if you have a C-section and or a long labor, so I had both. I actually saved the box so I could show you guys, because I really like the ones that she got. So these are called the Depends Silhouette. Again, this is, a lot of this stuff is like mental, it's just good for your mental state, but these, they don't look or feel like a regular diaper. They're just a little like cuter. I know it's really the little things in life, but they come in 3 different colors in a pack. They're not like white and diapery looking, you know, and they're really stretchy and they're super comfortable. And yeah, like you can kind of see the picture here, like see how it kind of just looks like underwear. I don't know, it just does something for your mental state when you feel like you've been hit by a truck. to have like little things like that that make you feel a little bit more human, I would definitely recommend those. And don't even mess around with like the whole pads and weird underwear situation. Just get some Depends. Like they come up really high, and so they came up over my incision. They were just super comfortable. That's what I recommend doing. Another thing I wish we would have brought was more of those arms up swaddles, because we only had the one. We didn't know what he was gonna like or not like. Now that I know how much babies really like those, I wish we would have brought more, because we only had the one, and so obviously we couldn't have him wearing that the whole time. And yeah, we've since bought more because he really likes them. Also, like I said, I wish I would have brought more nursing nightgowns. I already kind of talked about that, but as far as things I wish I would have brought, that definitely goes on the list too. All right, and then lastly, let's talk about the things that I brought that I didn't need. The first thing is pants. Just like all the pants, and even shirts for that matter, as far as that goes, because like I said, pretty much all I wore were gowns, like the hospital gown, the cute gown that I brought, and then the nursing nightgown. That was pretty much all that I wore. I didn't want pants hitting my incision at all, and I brought a lot of pants. I brought like stretchy pants and sweatpants and pajama pants. I had a lot of that kind of like what I would have thought would be comfy pants, but I didn't want any of that because the waistband hits your incision. I didn't need any of I didn't need pants or shirts. It was all just gowns. I also wouldn't have brought as many clothes for Charlie. I think, like, you know, when you're a first time mom, you don't know, and you just picture all these like cute little outfits. And I guess there are probably some people who have the time, energy, ability to put all of those like cutesy things on their baby. But I was in bed most of the time, and you know, honestly just didn't feel like messing with any of that. So yeah, I, in hindsight, would have just brought the arms up swaddles and the really simple zip all-in-one onesies, like sleeper onesies with a zipper, not the buttons or the snaps. I also wouldn't have brought any like accessories for him. This is kind of along the same lines. I brought a bunch of like socks and mittens and hats and things like that. He didn't wear any of those. He had a bad like hematoma on his head from where they used the vacuum, and so he couldn't wear any hats at all. I also wouldn't have brought pacifiers. We did end up using a pacifier because when he had to get his jaundice treatment, that was the only thing that would kind of like calm him down, but we used the ones that the hospital had and they worked just fine. I also would not have brought regular underwear for the same reason as why I wouldn't have brought pants. Like, just wear the Depends. The last thing we wouldn't have brought, and there's actually probably some more stuff, but this is just one that sticks out to me. I mentioned in my What's in My Hospital Bag video that I had found this checklist on the Baby Center website with things to bring to the hospital for me, for Charlie, and for the dad. And one of the things on the list for the dad to bring was a spray bottle that you could put like cool water in and mist the mom when she's having contractions, because you sweat a lot and stuff. And so Wes had packed that in his bag and we'd completely forgotten about it. We didn't like even think to use that. Like, now, after having gone through labor, the thought of him misting me with water when I'm trying to have contractions is like really funny. He had brought it because I gave him that list and he just brought whatever it said on that list. This is just a memory that will like always stick with me, because I think it was like day 5 of being in the hospital. Charlie was under the jaundice light. He had been finally like asleep, but we were sleep deprived. I was on Percocet. Like, we were just a hot mess, and Wes was digging around in his bag for something, and he pulls out that spray bottle and just turns around and looks at me with this face, and we both knew what each other was thinking. We were trying to be quiet because he was sleeping, but we just like were dying laughing, like tears. We were just, and I think that's why it always stick out to me, because that was the first like big belly laugh like that I had had since the kind of traumatic labor. And we were just cracking up because after like how crazy the labor was, the contrast of that to like thinking that somehow we would want to like mist ourselves. I don't know, it was probably like a you had to be there type of moment, but it was really funny. Wes was just like, this is what went wrong with your labor. I forgot to get the spray bottle out. I hope that what I talked about in this video is helpful for you guys, but of course every labor is different. So if you've recently given birth and you have some advice on things that you wish you had and things that you were really happy that you had that I didn't mention, leave them in the comments, because there are a lot of pregnant women watching these videos, and you know, you can help each other out in that way, because what was helpful for me might not have been helpful for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I also did a blog post with this written out like in list form, so if you'd rather have that to pin to your Pinterest boards or something, to save it for to save it for later and labor, you can do that there. So thanks so much for watching. Please click the thumbs up button if you found this helpful, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.